Okay, good morning, folks. What I want to do this morning is I want to go through a game that was played by one of my recent students, one of my new beginners, against one of the OGS Amybots. This is the beginner Amybot. She's functioning at about, let me just have a quick look, it's about 25Q. Amybot. It's a real beginner, but it's great. It's a great beginner to start playing Go once you know what the rules are, once you know the basics of Go, life and death on the Go board, how you survive, what Atari is, all of that stuff. The bots on OGS are a great way to get lots of practice games in, to start to get a feel for what happens on the Go board when you start to play stones and those stones interact with your opponent's stones. So I'm just going to walk through this game. For a couple of reasons. One is just to talk about playing against the bots and some of the mistakes the bots make that let you off the hook, and some of the good moves that were made by the black player, the student in this case. And then I want to look a little bit about life and death, because there's an interesting life and death situation comes up towards the end of the game. So here we are. So here's the game. So I'm just going to walk this through quite quickly. So black plays lower left, entirely normal. White plays top left. That's good. Black plays top right. It's worth pointing out that this is called the diagonal fuseki. Black's other option here at this point in the game will be to play somewhere in this area. And now we get what's called a parallel fuseki, because white would take up this kind of position. And it does make a difference. When we have what we call this diagonal fuseki, because white takes the fourth corner, we're in for a much more fighty game, where because all of the forces are now cross-cut on each other, and to link up they've got to fight against each other, whereas a parallel fuseki can actually lead to a much more peaceful game, where both sides are building territory and building what we call a moyo. And a moyo is simply a territorial framework. It's an area of the board that you want to control at the end of the game. So in this case, Ben opted for a diagonal fuseki, a bit more fighty Ben. White took the corner and black came out. I think it's a perfectly good move, really good move. It's making a big claim on the lower left side and the lower left corner. Maybe a little bit too high, but I'm not going to go into that kind of detail. White approaches. Black does a high pincer. The other alternative for black would be simply to attach at c5, this kind of move, and then we'd expect to see white come up, black come out, and then white make a base. That again would be a normal exchange, and I think that exchange is reasonable for black. You know, black gets a good corner here, 30 points, and white gets a position on the left hand side. So but we'll go back to the game. So we had a pincer, so white makes a base. And this concept of making a base is very important in the game. It's a bit, if any of you have ever done any martial arts, you know, if you're under attack in karate or judo or aikido, you kind of move your legs slightly apart so that you've got a stable base. Your body's a kind of triangular shape, so that you're stable. And actually making a base for our stones by extending two spaces along the third line, as is the case with these two stones here, is actually making a strong, stable shape ready to resist attack. And actually it's trying to, in here, what white's trying to do is make enough space to make two eyes. If white comes under severe attack, white can survive in that area. So white comes out and makes that base. Black ignores and extends on the other side. Nothing wrong with that again. It's a big point on the right hand side. What it does do is it leaves this stone a little bit weak, but it's early in the fuseki, it's early in the opening, and so there's nothing to worry about there. And white chooses to attack that stone. White says, well, yes, all right, I understand that you've got this big point here, but I'm going to attack your weak stone here. And it's sometimes a bit difficult when we play a stone and then just walk away from it. Sometimes we do. It's normal in Go. It's what we call a probe. You're just putting stone down, saying to your opponent, what do you think about that? Just to see what their reaction, what their response will be. It's a bit like asking a question in a conversation. What do you think of that? Or what's your opinion on this? And that's fine. I think the exchange of the triangular stone for this stone is fine. Black comes in between. I'm not sure about this move because that's effectively if white chose to come out here, then black's got another weak stone. So I'm not sure about that. I think this black stone would be, if you want to play in this area, to attach here would be one option, or to attach here would be another option. So this one there, white in the game. Actually, white's, let's go back. Are we on the game? Yeah, so actually that's exactly what white did in the game. I was just going back, so black points there, and yeah, white separates. Again, coming back to core principles of Go, what's the highest level strategy we employ in Go? The highest level strategy is that we keep our own stones connected and we cut our opponent into small manageable groups, because small groups have to live locally. They have to expend time and energy on making two eyes. Large groups have got lots of liberties and lots of eye potential to fight with. So black Hanes, again I'm not sure I like this because it leaves a cutting point, and white solidifies the left hand side, and then black comes out and white comes out, and notice how white is continually separating black into smaller sections. And so black blocks, and white connects, and black connects, and then white comes out. And then this move's a little bit strange because it's actually throwing another stone. If it was me playing this, or a stronger player than Amybot, you'd simply envelop this stone in that way and just sit on it. But this is the 25Q Amybot, so we won't be too harsh on her. It comes underneath, black extends, white comes out, and black protects. Reasonable protection of that. So now black has got this wall. Black has created this wall on the outside, and this exchange is that white has got in here maybe 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 15 or so points, but black's got this wall and influence. So black really needs to be thinking about what to do with that influence, and that has something to do with this area of the board, this kind of shape. That's where that influence is radiating. It's still got cutting points. It's still a bit thin, as we call it, but it's okay. So white comes out to connect the wall that's along the C line, C6, C7, C8, C9, C10, to the corner, to make sure that black can't separate that wall from the corner and make it live on its own devices. So now black has got a sente, and that's great, Ben. I mean, a great move. You've jumped out, you've taken another big point on the board. White approaches a little bit high again. I would like to see this stones actually somewhere like this, because your wall's pretty solid. You don't have to go in and fix it, and this really starts to make a big statement around this part of the board for black. That's what's going on there. But and these kind of stones at this part of the game in the opening, they tend to be a little bit what we call floating stones. So white protects the corner. You make a jump. Again, your stones are not very well connected here. White blocks. You come out, and white takes all of those points in the corner. So white's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20, 30 points on the board now. And black still hasn't got any solid points. Black's got potential, but no solid points. But we have to say the top left-hand corner and the left side, the upper side part of the left side, are now in white's control. So black plays here, white plays here, black. Again, the double harness is not good here because there's so many cutting points. Can you see how black has got cutting points both here and here that result in Ataris if white were to play there? And there comes the play. That's the Atari. White Ataris again. And generally, it's not great to leave so many cutting points in your shape. White connects to stop black, to keep black separated. Again, we're on core principles of Go. The reason for white's move is to keep these stones separated from these stones. And white has actually said, I'm prepared to give this one up. Give up the squared stone if necessary in order to maintain this connection and keep these guys separated. So white, black Hanes, white turns, and now again, this is too far away. This stone here, it's too far away from. It can't connect easily with that one, and it can't connect easily with that one. So it's kind of out there on its own. This kind of stone would be much better deployed somewhere like this, and making all of these points on the top left hand corner solid and blacks. Okay, let's go back. So white comes out, continuing that separation. Black harness, white harness, black blocks. White comes out, and now these two stones are in a little bit of trouble, and black kind of ignores. And again, I understand this is an Amybot, you're experimenting with the game, but at this point you've got a cutting point here, and all of these stones here are under threat of attack and are vulnerable. So it's probably not the right time to come suddenly open up a new theatre of war, but there we go. White reacts, white responds, it's fine. The honey on the edge is not the normal move in the circumstance. When we dive into the 3-3 under the 4-4, let's just go back. So this stone here, white stone, is on the 4-4 point, 4Q, and our stone has gone in on the 3-3 point, 3R, as they're called, 4-4 and 3-4. There are a number of standard plays around this. So after white plays here, I would expect to see black play in this kind of area, and then this sequence would happen: white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, and that exchange to kind of happen. That's a normal beginner Joseki exchange. Black harness, white turns, black harness again, and again, what's this? This is leaving just critical cutting points in black shape, and it's something we should generally not be doing unless we've got a specific plan in mind to do this for other reasons. White harness, black doesn't protect, white walks away, black follows, white jumps, black wedges, white Ataris, black connects, white Ataris, black connects. But notice, if this was a human player now, white would simply play there, and everything in that corner is dead, because if black runs away, white just kills the lot. Amybot can be kind to her beginners, and she's nice because of that. So after black here, sorry, after, where were we? Yeah, after black there, white cuts, Atarying all of these stones. They're about to die. They've only got one liberty, and all of the surrounding group have got more than one liberty. Even this little one here in the corner on R2 has got 2 liberties. But black Ataris that, and rather than taking, white takes this one. Black comes out, white Ataris again, black Ataris, white cards. I mean, you can see that this black corner is now completely dead. It's out of the game, absolutely out of the game. At any point, white can kill these black stones, and black has no answer. These stones here. Black connects, white jumps out, white harness, black jumps, white makes a tiger mouth, black blocks, white connects. Again, it's a 25Q move. Black comes out, trying to make territory on the right hand side. White pushes out. It's normally quite difficult to block an invasion from 2 sides. You have to choose which side. You can't do both. So white comes out again. Now which side does black turn? Black hammers on the head, on the nose. White turns. And this is almost like a ladder attack, but it's not, because white has so many extra liberties here. And this is the crucial part of the game. White Ataris. Black runs away. White connects, black connects, white Ataris, And now black is starting to get into serious trouble here, and white blocks on that side. There are some cutting points. You know, there are points now that black could counterattack, because that's that stone is vulnerable to attack, and an attack on that stone actually starts to take the pressure off these and connect those with those. Black takes a liberty on this side. White Hanes Natares again, and then white makes a thicker shape. So this cutting point no longer works. So you might involve a ladder, but we won't go there. Right, let's here, black here. This doesn't work. White descend. White comes out. Black pushes out. White comes out. And these are slightly strange moves by the Amybot, but in letting black off the hook here, and turns, black connects, white pushes, which is an Atari across the diagonal, often not easy to see, but notice that this group has only got one liberty here, so that doesn't help. So when you've only got one liberty, jumping out doesn't help. The only option for black would be to connect, but in this case it would be very bad. And then this connection shouldn't work. It simply shouldn't work, because after black plays that, then the expected move by white would be this one, and then all of the corners comes alive. That's what I would have expected to see. But white connects there. Black Ataris. White has to connect. White can still kill all of the black stones on the edge, but now black has Atari'd the two white stones. It's now or never now, because if white doesn't kill at R1 here now, then black's next move releases these stones from their prison. And so what happened in the game? White turns. This is Amybot being not very bright, because now notice here white is in Atari. White only has one liberty at L1, and white turns, and white still got one liberty, and so black quite rightly kills them. White Atari is here, connect, but these black stones here are now dying. They're seriously dying, because they only have two liberties and they don't have the capacity to get more. They've got now one stone in Atari and one liberty, and they're dying, which means that all of the white stones are connected. Everything on that white board, with the exception of this little corner down in the lower right, where the connection was lost, are now connected. So black cuts there, white Ataris, black pushes, white Ataris, black comes out, white comes out, black comes out, white comes out, black jumps, white comes out. It's quite difficult when you're fighting this kind of incursion by your opponent to play so close and contact you. You have to step back and give it some room, and then enclose later. So white comes up here. Notice how now these stones are dead. They're an Atari and they have no way out. Even if they push at H7 and Atari this stone, the one at J7, white simply kills. Let's just show that. So what does white play next? Yeah, white plays there. Now it's all over, because black can't self Atari anymore by playing it at H7, and so black dives into the corner. White Hane, cut, double Atari, Atari there, take. This might be a code, but I think white connects. Black comes down, white comes down, black comes down, and white takes, making sure that all of white stones are connected, and takes again. So again, we have to be careful as a beginner looking at these moves. At the moment, black has got one liberty. It's got one liberty there. It's in Atari, but if it moves, notice it's still got one liberty, and white's next move kills it. So these moves don't help us. In fact, they just waste moves. Black plays there, white takes again. This is not looking good for black at this point. White Ataris the stone on G12 and then pushes this way, and black connects, and again looking at the move, the stones on E14, E13 and F13 have got one liberty. When they extend, as you can now see, they still have one liberty. So that move makes no sense. It makes no sense at all, and white simply kills. Black turns. The vital point for black, there is a vital point, and it's certainly not this turn. The vital point for black is this one here, to connect this group out to the outside where black is strong. If white cuts there, then everything will die. Let's go back to the game. White pushes, white Atari, black extends, and here comes the final cut. So black there, and then white cuts and kills the whole group. Black pushes, white blocks, black Ataris, white Ataris, black connects, white connects. And I want you to notice this shape. So this black group has got three liberties inside. Those liberties are here. And this shape with three liberties we call a bent 3. And sitting in the middle of that bent 3 on the point of symmetry is a white stone, which means that that black group has only got one eye, and I'm going to go through this in more detail towards the end of this video, which means it's dead. It's a dead shape. But we'll look at that in a moment. Let's keep going. So black white. Again, white cuts, black stones have got an Atari, white takes, black blocks. It was a pointless move by Amybot. She didn't need to play that. Black connects. So black's got some territory on the lower left side, but it's a bit vulnerable in this kind of area. Notice particularly that this cut is an Atari. It's Atariing these three stones, and so black will respond, and then white will be able to separate. Or in actual fact, if white does this, black must not respond there, because black will be cut in two. White descend. Black blocks on the outside. That's fine. White's making making sure it's got two eyes here. White blocks. And then white black cut. In point of fact, this really shouldn't work, because white can just kill the black group at M12, but it's Amybot, and so Amybot misses that, and so that little triangular group is now under threat, and if black kills that, then black will get the corner. So white Ataris, black runs out, white Hanes, black turns, white turns, and then black plays the killer move and actually kills off that white group right there. In this case, these white stones have only got one liberty. Even if they extend out here, they've still got one liberty and they'll die. So white counter Ataris and black takes. Sometimes, and this is a case, it would actually be better just to descend and add the extra stone on the board and Atari this one too, rather than the take, because that happens in the game. Because now white can fold around, but it matters, it's small. So now white is attacking black's upper right corner. Black descends, black comes out, and white turns, so that corner's looking weak. The Hane again doesn't really work here because of the cutting points, and there's the cut and Atari. Black extends, white extends, and now we have a ladder that white chooses not to take. White Ataris again, black comes out. White protects the cutting point in its shape. Black blocks, white connects, turns, white down. And again here Amybot makes a mistake, because Amybot at this point really needed to Atari here, but doesn't, and that's fine. That's why it's a 25Q beginner bot. This move doesn't quite make sense, and now black, it's a great move by black to actually reduce the liberties on white, and white cuts the wrong way. Again, I would expect to see white cutting this way, so that black stone extends and then white can connect. But that's why we play Amybots when we're beginners. White attacks in that way, black connects there, white comes down, and now white is dying. Beautiful. Really nice capture and kill by black. White blocks the corner. Black cuts through, but that's kind of a nonsensical cut. If we go back and look at it, you know that white's next move puts that stone into Atari and it has nowhere to go. Black comes down, protecting this area of the board. White blocks, black connects, and then there's a pass move by white, which is a bit odd. This game's not really over yet, but Amybot clearly thinks there's enough there, and so black plays, white passes, black plays, white makes an eye, and black descends here. And this is the fatal mistake by the Amybot, because the move now for white is that one, and when white plays that one, white has got loads of eyes. One eye there, one eye there, a big eye there. White's unconditionally alive and has won the game. But in this case, black descends, and notice that is a self-Atari for black, because white will kill by playing there. But white connects, and by connecting, white gives itself only one eye, and quite rightly black kills it. You know, when our opponent makes mistakes, we punish them, and that was a classic mistake and deserved to be punished. But it's also why I think for the player in this case, for Ben, you need to be starting to play against a stronger bot now, because you're getting away with too much, and a human player won't give you those kind of opportunities. Certainly not after 22, 20, 21k. So that's a pass. Black plays there to block. You know, I don't understand the passes by the Amybot in this case, because the territories aren't sealed, and so you're quite right, black, to keep going and seal that territory, seal that territory, seal that territory, and pass. And the game was a win for black, largely because of the absolute destruction of this group here, which, if you think about it, was worth... There were so many opportunities in that, but it was a good win. It was a good win by black against a relatively weak bot, but I can't knock the game. What it gave me an into, and what I wanted to look at, was these shapes. Because back in the game, at the end of the game, here, I want you to look at this this shape here. This is a black group that's got only one eye, and there's a white stone sitting in the middle of it, and so we're here. So these 5 shapes are very important in Go. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because in life and death situations, these are the only shapes that mean that you can kill the group. In each case, white can kill this black group, or black can make the group live. And so these groups live and die. We call this, they live and die by sente. And by sente means initiative. So in each case, as you can see, white has taken all of the outside liberties of each of these groups, and the black groups, so the black groups are completely surrounded, but they've got a large space inside of them. And these shapes are known as the straight 3 here, 3 in a row. The bent 3, number 2, is the same as the straight 3, but it's on a bend. And the important thing is that there's a point of symmetry where I put the 1 and put the 2, where that shape divides. This is known as the pyramid, or the T shape, because it's like an inverted T or a pyramid. And again, the 3 is the point of symmetry. This one's slightly more unusual. It's called the bulky 5. And again, point of symmetry for this, or the killing point, is 0.4. And this one has a crazy name called the rabbity 6, or sometimes the flower shape. You have to see a diagram in James Davis's book to understand the rabbity 6, but you just have to trust that shape is a killing shape, and we'll go through that. So what do we mean live and die by Sente? Well, if it's black's go and black plays there, clearly now black has got 2 eyes. Clearly black has got 2 eyes. If it's white's go and white plays there, black's dead, because let's look at the sequence. Black Ataris, white kills. And there is nothing that black can do about it. If black leaves the situation and doesn't play at all, then white plays here, and black's in Atari, and eventually white will play here, and that shape dies at that point. Just take these 2 off. Okay, so this is live and die by Sente. If it's black's turn, black can live. If it's white turn, white plays in the center there, and white kills, because there's now only 1 eye, and that's the situation we saw in the game. Okay, let's look at the bent 3. The bent 3 is exactly the same. In the bent 3, if black plays, then white has got 2 eyes. Sorry, black has got 2 eyes, 1 there and 1 there, and black's unconditionally alive. It's a fortress. It can't be removed from the board. But if white plays there, the opposite happens. Now, if black tries to play here, white kills here. That's what happens in that shape. So that's called a bent 3. Then we have the T shape, and again the same principle applies. Exactly the same. If black plays here, black has now, you can see, got 3 eyes. You only need 2, but in this case black's got 3, and so he's unconditionally alive. It will never be removed from the board. But if white plays at the point of symmetry, and black tries to respond here, white plays here, black plays there, white plays back, black cannot play there because white kills there. So again, the T or the pyramid is exactly the same. The next shape, this one here, same principle. That's the vital point, is right there. This is known as the 1-arm box or the bulky 5. It's because there's a little box of 4 stones here with an arm sticking off it. It doesn't matter. It's called different things by different people. Same principle. Black plays there. Black's got 2 eyes. It's got 1 unique eye there, and then a large 3-space eye there. So black's unconditionally alive. But if white plays here, and black tries to make some eyes. Now notice in this case white must respond. If white doesn't respond and plays off somewhere else on the board, then here black makes 2 eyes, and now black is unconditionally alive. There's nothing white can do, because white cannot do a self-Atari by playing there. So when black plays there, white must play there, and then there's nothing black can do to either stop white playing here and making a straight 3, or playing there and making a bent 3. So these shapes collapse back on each other. They kind of fold back into each other. The basic shapes are the bent 3, the straight 3, and the bent 3. So after black plays there, white needs to make a play. And then we finally look at what we call the rabbity 6, or the flower shape. And again, same principle. Black plays there, and black has got a unique eye here and a unique eye here, and a large 3-space eye here. So black's unconditionally alive, absolutely unconditionally alive. But if white plays here, then black's in trouble. And again, the same principle with the bulky 5 follows, so that if black plays here, white must respond. Again, if white chooses to play elsewhere on the board, black can come back and play here, and now black has got 2 eyes and is alive, because it's got an eye there, and when that white stone dies, there'll be a 3-space eye in there. So after white blinds, what we call a blinding shape, black plays there, white plays away, black gets to live. So white must play here, and if black plays here, then white ataris black by making a bent 3, and if black tries to get out of it, black takes the shape and white comes back again into the center of the bent 3, which is identical to this group down on the edge. Black takes, white kills. So let's just go back a little bit and leave those clear, and that one. So those are the only 5 shapes that can be killed in that way, and the killing shapes are called the nakade in Japanese. Any space, any internal space that is bigger than this 6 or a different shape to that is unconditionally alive. But the straight 3, the bent 3, the T or the pyramid, the bulky 5 or one-arm box, and the rabbity 6, you kind of need to know, because when you're under attack, you need to make sure that if you are in one of those shapes, that you play first, that you play at the point of symmetry, and you manage to get in there and get yourself alive. Okay, all of that stuff is available elsewhere on the web, elsewhere to look, but I wanted to go through that just because it appeared in that game. I think that's about enough for now. I don't want to make this too long a video, but that's a quick review of a game. Mistakes by the Amybot, good play by black. As a beginner, I thought your general direction of play and sense of the game was good, but you left too many cutting points, and these are the life and death shapes. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Thanks again. Please like, please subscribe. Bye for now.